All right, we got the man, the myth, the legend, my friend Ted Arnaud. Every Sunday, Coons Market Black and Gold. He's all about the NFL, and we're going to be talking all about the draft. Steelers getting ready for that 94th pick in the third round, and they also have the 105th pick. We'll get you updated on everything that is the Steelers in the 2017 draft and the NFL in a moment. But Ted, moments ago, our good friend Bernie Vukovic and I talked Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko. About 4:30 or so, our time, London time around 11, HBO, Boxing After Dark. Come on. Does Klitschko have anything left in the tank?
You know, he's going to show up prepared. He's going to show up in shape. Whether he's still got the speed. He's always been a little bit suspect when it comes to speed. Obviously, he's a big guy. I think he does have quite a bit left in the tank because of the way he trains, the way he stays in shape. But we'll see. He needs a big win. He needs to have a strong win.
All right. Speaking of a strong win, it's been a strong draft. You got to give him an A+. They even got my man Deshaun Kaiser, who could be a prototype and a franchise quarterback for many years to come. He's just about 6'5", strong arm, stands in the pocket, has the speed if he needs to scoot out of the pocket. And you look at everything else that they've done, even Jabril Peppers out of Michigan. I was hoping he would be around long enough for the Steelers. It didn't happen. Let's begin with the Browns and what an amazing draft thus far they've had.
Well, they got obviously what they felt, and I think most people felt, was the number one player in their first pick. Jabril Peppers, they're already talking that they're going to play him much as he did in Michigan, both offense and defense. And it wouldn't surprise me because he got in on quite a few offensive plays at Michigan, even though he was the key to the Michigan defense. So I think those are some great picks. A lot of people were wondering, why didn't they go quarterback? Why didn't they trade up to get the quarterback? I think they got the quarterback that they wanted all along. So I think by waiting, this is going to be, he's a leader. And it's something that the Browns really need. They need somebody that can come in and lead that team, both emotionally, from a physical standpoint. I don't think he'll play right away, but I think they've got a kid who could really become quarterback in the future.
What about the Ravens? They pick up Reuben Foster. When the Steelers had a chance, they went with T.J. Watt. Before we talk to who could be a great asset to that 3-4 defense out of Wisconsin, T.J. Watt. What about Reuben Foster? Some say baggage. I say a lot of talent. Linebacker, Alabama, going to the Ravens.
Well, you know, the Ravens don't shy away from taking baggage. They seem to be able to mold defensive players very well, and they needed defense. They were struggling, but they also need a wide receiver. So I am really, really surprised with their last pick. They went defense again. I think they need, they only have Wallace as their key wide receiver now that my main man, Mr. Smith Sr., retired. So it's going to be interesting what they do because Flacco does not have anybody but Wallace to throw to that can go deep right now or can be consistent. And we know that he can have his own inconsistencies just following him at Pittsburgh. So I'm very, very surprised that they didn't go wide receiver.
You know, I've often said one of my favorite times was going to Canton McKinley and to Canton, Ohio, the home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I would hear all the stories at restaurants and watering holes about the time that Paul Brown used to be there and how every baby in the hospital gets a Kent McKinley football with them in their bassinet. It is football, no doubt. I have a lot of respect for Mike Brown. A lot of people wondering why they decided to take Joe Mixon. I think he could be a great running back, obviously dealing with some things. Your thoughts about the Bengals, then we'll talk Steelers.
Well, I think he's going to be a good back, and I know they've got questions about it, but you have to assume that they've done the research. But we have seen that people with baggage do not do really well with Cincinnati. They tend to blow up. They tend to create problems, as we've seen. So they need a good running back. He's certainly got all the measurables for being a good running back. But let's hope that they've done the research. Or in some ways, let's hope they didn't. But I
J.J. Watt, the oldest brother, multiple times Defensive Player of the Year with Houston. He's had some issues, a back and a shoulder, but he is a perennial Pro Bowler. Derek Watt, another brother, picked in the 6th round when they were still in San Diego by the Chargers. But now the Steelers, a guy who's had a right knee injury, a left knee injury, but this past year came out like a house of fire, won all sorts of honors in the Big Ten. He had 11 and a half sacks on the year, 63 tackles. They pick up a guy who has really excelled in the 3-4 defense, talking about linebacker T.J. Watt, the first-round selection at number 30 for the Steelers.
Yeah, and he's got, the baggage of not being available. He had to sit out. It was, I think, almost a year and a half playing football while he was at Wisconsin. It seems that he's been okay for that last year. He had an unbelievable year last year. So obviously the Steelers are looking at some edge pass rushing, and we know that they needed that. We know that was one of their certainly their wants, and he's going to be a development issue. Just hoping that he doesn't have the problems with his knees in the future. But certainly, just by looking at the way he played and looking the way his brother plays, he's got the DNA to be an incredible player for the Steelers.
All right, recently, Juju Watt, wide receiver, 6'1.5", 215, blazing speed, not afraid to go over the middle, great body control, has all the potential of being a Pro Bowler. Question is, Martavis Bryant back in the fold, Antonio Brown, and you've got Coates and others that could step in if need be. Why him?
Well, I think honestly they need some backup at wide receiver. Other than Brown, they didn't get a whole lot of production out of their other wide receivers last year. And I think they see in him the ability to maybe take some of the pressure off of Brown. Martavis Bryant, we know, it's great that he's a provisional back in the NFL, but the provisional's there for a reason. And I got to believe that management is looking at him as a risky player and maybe not wanting to put all of their eggs in one basket with him. So obviously this shows that they have some doubts, but this kid can play. He's a good receiver. I think give Ben another target and maybe somebody who's a little bit more consistent than Martavis Bryant. We know that he's got talent, but we also know that if you remember when he was playing, Ben had to give him quite a few lectures to get him fired up to play at top level. He's got the talent, but obviously the Steelers are seeing something that they don't want to put that much risk. Sammy Coates just really never did that well last year. He had some injury issues of his own, and it's going to be interesting to see how this kid's going to fit in down the road. But I think it was a good pick. I like it.
Ted Arnaud on the Comcast Sports Line talking NFL, back with us Sunday at 12:30 on the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh Newsline, and every Sunday talking NFL. Good night, Ted.
Good night.